Baru, the protest, the blackout, and our /BestofRedditorUpdates, new update. Greetings, members of our /BestofRedditorUpdates. By now you have probably heard a lot about the open letter about API pricing, https://www.reddit.com/r/mod_/comment/13x_h1e7/an_open_letter_of_affairs_regarding/. Some of your favorite subreddits, https://mod.reddit.com/r/mod_/comment/1401qw5/incomplete_growing_list_of_participants/ When we cross-posted the letter, plenty of people were confused about what API even is, how this pricing would impact them, and why it was worth talking about. Since then, there have been a number of posts about this very subject, all explaining better than we could. Subreddits like our /explainlikemfiv have highlighted in an easy way to understand what API is, https://explainlikemfiv/comments/10/6s/eli5_how_does_work/UTM_source in AMP, UTM_medium equals user text in AMP, UTM_name equals explainlikemfiv in AMP, UTM_content equals T3_142kcd8, and why this is change is a problem, https://explainlikemfiv/comments/142kcd8/eli5_y_r_subreddits_going_dark/. Our /askhistorians have explained in detail why so many mods are upset, https://reddit.com//askhistorians/comments/142w159/askhistorians_n_uncertainty surrounding the/ and, frankly, disillusioned, in the wake of the admin announcement. Hashtag to a lot of people, the API changes are not a big deal. If you use the official apps and have no issue navigating it, that's great. You may not have known that third-party apps existed, or why people prefer them. If you're wondering why people can't just use the official app, we can acknowledge that for many users it is simply a personal preference. They're used to it, some of us have been using them for years before there was ever an official app, or they might simply prefer it because of the designs and features. If you're interested in a visual representation of why so many prefer third-party apps, please check this, https://www.reddit.com/r/bikini bottom twitter/comments/13xk3lu/they_have_to_underscore to_pay_million_per_year_to/jmj3nfg. UTM_source equals share in AMP, UTM_medium equals Android_app in AMP, UTM_name equals Androids in AMP, UTM_term equals 1 in AMP, UTM_content equals share_button, or /bestof comment out for a side-by-side comparison. For mods, the mod tool support of these third parties largely makes our jobs much easier, which keeps the communities we all love safer. On a third-party app, we can accomplish in 2 clicks what would take the official app 5. This efficiency means we can address more problems in the community in a more timely manner. If you're thinking to yourself, if these apps are making a profit, Reddit deserves a cut, we do agree. What we take issue with is that their API is being valued at 10-20x over what other similar services do, to the point where, almost, https://apolloapp/comments/13ws4w3/hat_apollo_app/comment/to_discuss_pricing_bad/ https://reddit.com/reddit-fn/comments/13web/riff_dev_here_reddits_rep_will_likely_kill/app
https://getnerwell/comments/13xskq/narwhal_update_about_reddit_API_pricing/
has https://www.reddit.com/relay for reddit/comments/13ws/n92/guess_this_is_also_the_death_of_released https://www.reddit.com/baconreader/comments/13vev2/reddit_api_changes_n_baconreader/some https://www.reddit.com/boost-for-reddit/comments/13zap9/comments/jmuslik/kind https://slide-for-reddit/comments/141rpcf/slide_will_be_dead_in_water_in_less_than_4/of statement that indicates these changes will kill their apps. I could link to more statements like that, but you get the idea. Before you ask why can't they just run ads to offset those costs, Reddit has already decided this will not be an option for third-party apps. One thing to be aware of as well is that even if a third-party app manages to survive July 1st through a subscription-based model alone, those apps will not have all the same content as the official app.
Namely, despite paying for the privilege of having a choice, NSFW content will be unavailable and invisible to those users. If you're thinking, well, I'm fine, I only use the mobile website via my chosen mobile browser, Chrome, Mozilla, etc., you should be aware that Reddit has already been testing functions which eliminate mobile web browsing. https://www.reddit.com/r/help/comments/135tly136.help._reddit_browser_access/jim40zg/ and there is no guarantee that your preferred method of using Reddit won't be next. Limiting user choice, charging exorbitant and predatory fees, and refusing to communicate are all significant problems that the BestofRedditor team takes issue with. However, the one we find most egregious is what this change will do to members of Reddit's blind community. #how are blind Redditors impacted by this decision? In short, Reddit's official apps leave a lot to be desired at best, and are barely functional at worst. The app on iOS has incorrectly labeled controls, doesn't always work with swipe, and not all functions can be accessed. For blind moderators, it can be difficult to impossible to find the moderation functions necessary to moderate, and customizing layouts to better suit their needs or make the app easier to navigate is similarly difficult to impossible. Third-party apps have addressed https://www.reddit.com//modnews/comments/14108/APA_updates_question/JN18TBC UTM_source equals share an amp, UTM_medium equals Android_app an amp, UTM_name equals Android an amp, UTM_term equals 1 an amp, UTM_content equals share_button, many of these types of issues because Reddit won't, giving these underserved communities a voice that Reddit seems to have no problem taking away. You might ask yourself how blind users navigated Reddit before there were apps, and the answer is that it didn't always used to be this way. https://modcord/comment/13zbf3n/reddit_to_visually_impaired_u_no_longer/jmrblhq/ but it has certainly always had accessibility issues. https://modcord/comment/13zbf3n/reddit_to_visually_impaired_u_no_longer/. In fact, discussions about accessibility. https://reddit.com/modnews/comments/14108/APA_updates_question/JN198mn UTM_source equals share an amp, UTM_medium equals Android_app an amp, UTM_name equals Android an amp, UTM_term equals 1 an amp, UTM_content equals share_button have been going on for months, if not years. Just a few months ago, Reddit received a free consultation. https://www.reddit.com//reddit/comments/11/011/comments/JDE89CX/ to make their mobile layout more accessible. Reddit did not follow up. https://www.reddit.com//modcord/comments/13zbf3n/comments/drotsk/. Context equals 8 an amp, depth equals 9, privately or publicly until the protest's momentum started to build. https://www.reddit.com//modnews/comments/14108/comments/JN1375d/. UTM_source equals share an amp, UTM_medium equals web 2x an amp, context equals 3. Even after numerous, far more recent interactions with the admin, there seems to be little progress or commitment concerning these issues. This type of interaction is exactly why we the BestofRedditor mod team feel that Reddit is not making accessibility a priority. Subreddits like r/blind are vital for the visually impaired in various stages of blindness, providing not just a source of communal support, but insights, strategies, and resources to navigate their new and changing lives. In the wake of Reddit's changes, subreddits like r/blind will be forced to go dark, leaving an already overlooked group without the invaluable support they both need and deserve. These changes will also significantly impact volunteer-run support subreddits such as r/transcribers of Reddit and r/description please, which serve to allow visually impaired Redditors to read text images and receive descriptions of visual content such as videos and images. These volunteers are indispensable to the blind community, because Reddit is the only social media website with no support for alternative text. As visually impaired Redditors are forced to use an app that is not designed with accessibility in mind, these communities will shrink, wither, and may cease to exist. See this video, https://youtube. b/jqlg3gfqru? T equals 343, for more details on this subject. For many of us, third-party apps are a choice or a preference, but they are an absolute necessity for the visually impaired. The BestofRedditor team is of the opinion that pricing these apps out of existence before their own app is WCAG compliant is nothing short of passive discrimination. The mod team of BestofRedditor, and many others, feel that July 1st is an unrealistic timeline to make all the changes necessary to make their app accessible. At this point, the only reasonable course of action is for Reddit to publish a public list of key results that they are committed to addressing, and guarantee that third-party functionality will be left unchanged until they do. Here at BestofRedditor we take steps to try and ensure our content is accessible. We ask our contributors to provide image descriptions and to transcribe text images. Sometimes transcribing those text images can take significant time, especially when those images are numerous multi-image text exchanges. Our OPs have never complained when we make that request, even though it is not an official requirement. We find it inexcusable that Reddit cannot do the bare minimum to ensure their visually impaired users have a voice in community. Frankly, disabled individuals are often expected to pay a premium for the same basic things everyone else uses and enjoys for free. Visually impaired Redditors deserve equal access, and even if third-party apps survive, they will not receive it. Those users will not have access to all of the content and features that the rest of Reddit will. Remember, NSFW content will be unavailable to regular users on third-party apps, and yes, disabled people like porn too. ##. So what does all this mean for our /BestofRedditorUpdates? Some of our mod team do use third-party apps, both for casual browsing and for moderation. Others don't. For us, this is not just about our personal preferences, it is about standing in opposition to ableism and making sure others have a voice. We have had many comments and mod mails asking about the position of BoRU's mod team. We wanted to discuss these matters internally ourselves first, to make sure we were on the same page before we made any sort of announcement. Now that we have. The mod team of our /BestofRedditorUpdates is in agreement that we should join the Blackout on June 12th. We are prepared to remain blacked out for a minimum of 48 hours. This means that no one will be able to access any BoRU content until the blackout is over. In standing up for the voices of others, however, we don't want to strip away the voices of our community. So now we want to hear from you. If you support us in this decision, please share and upvote this post, and comment with your support. How long will BoRU's blackout last? Pending further developments, after 48 hours we will reassess the situation, taking into account what new statements have been released, how the protest is evolving, and what our users want. Edit ***. After resounding support from our community, we are officially joining the blackout. Thank you all for voting, commenting, and spreading the word. Edit ***. When will BoRU come back? We aren't sure at this time. After 48 hours we will reassess the situation and come to an agreement. We are deeply grateful for the support of our community in this. Many of you told us to black out as long as is necessary, and we cannot tell you how much this means to us. How will I know when BoRU is coming back? We will be transparent in /r/ modcord to make our position known. Likewise, if we feel it necessary to temporarily open BoRU up to make another announcement to get the most visibility, or check in with how our community is feeling, we will do exactly that. Just keep an eye out for announcements from us. I want to help. If you want to help, spread the word. Do not pressure other subreddits to join in the blackout, but let it be known that you support the subreddits that have https://www.reddit.com/r/modcord/comments/1401qw5/incomplete_growing_list_of_participation/ or those which might still be voting on whether or not they should. You can also join us in not using Reddit for the 12-14th and check in at /r/modcord for the status of the protest. Do you have a Discord server? Yep. https://discord. gg/hx2hym2jewy. Here are some comments. Consider yourselves supported in this decision. For however long it lasts. Fully support, go beyond 48 hours if necessary. 100% support it. Cannot believe they don't realize that they're essentially axing free labor while still being unwilling to hire accessibility engineers. I am not blind but suffer from severe auditory sensory issues and use several third-party unlicensed apps, programs, etc. to make my life livable. We are not thought of during development, but always a post-dev update. It is beyond frustrating.